I know. Very, very good. I saw you singing and dancing the other day at the stadium, and I knew that life was very good.
Yeah, no, we're trying, Rob. We're trying.
Are you happy, though, with the way things are going?
No, very, very happy, Rob. 8 games, only 1 lose, so there's something happening in Richards Bay. I don't want to use this word cooking this time.
No,
Let me
please.
just say there's something happening there.
Yeah, no, the cooking word has, it doesn't turn out well. I think all those meals get burnt at some point.
#MSW. #MSW.
Yeah, I wasn't lying, man. A very busy show, but let's head straight now to find out what's happening around the world. Andile Nkosi at Rise FM, Nayus Pelele Chiliza, Wevo My FM. Top of the hour, here's the news.
With partner code XM947 and claim your $30 today. Trading can involve risk and result in the loss of your invested capital. T's and C's apply.
On 947, this is EWN.
Good evening, I'm Lerato Hufela. Corruption-accused businessman Edwin Sodi has dismissed the attempted murder case against him as nonsense allegations which should not have made it to court. Sodi's matter was struck off the roll today after both the complainants withdrew. The matter dates back to 2022 when Sodi allegedly tried to shoot his wife and a male friend at their Bryanston home. Khomotso reports.
Edwin Sodi says he's relieved to have his attempted murder matter, which has been hanging over his head for 3 years, finally closed.
Well, I mean, those were nonsense allegations, and eventually we can see that they were never going to stick.
Looking carefree and rather confident, the controversial businessman told the media that he's got other matters to focus on.
I've got business to run, I've got serious matters to deal with, so it's done.
Sodi is no stranger to courts and investigations. His corruption case over a 255 million rand asbestos removal tender continues in the Free State High Court. He's also being probed for the dodgy 291 million rand Rooiwal plant upgrade, which left Hammanskraal residents without drinkable water for years. Khomotso, Eyewitness News in Randburg.
And President Cyril Ramaphosa is urging political parties and organizations to refrain from antagonizing America when welcoming back expelled Ambassador Ibrahim Rasul. South Africa's former ambassador to the US is expected back in the country on Sunday. Speaking at a briefing this afternoon, the presidency said it's aware that there might be a number of people planning to give Rasul a hero's welcome. Tabiso Goba has more.
Ibrahim Rasul's expulsion has worsened the already deteriorating relationship between the union buildings and the White House. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya has called for restraint when Rasul lands on home soil.
We would like to urge all political formations that are planning various homecoming rallies for Ambassador Rasul to assist us and refrain from partaking or engaging in action that may seem inflammatory and that may worsen the already volatile diplomatic relationship with the
A partly cloudy and cool Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated showers and thunder showers. Joburg dropping to an overnight low of 14 degrees, reaching high of 24. Pretoria 16 and 26, Vereeniging 14 and 26 as well. Lerato Hufela, Eyewitness News.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
#MSW.
You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Nqobile Adams against Bayanda Walaza.
And Walaza at the moment is the fastest junior in the world, and I imagine he's only going to get quicker.
Coach Eric Tinkler, it's good to see you, sir.
Is there any mention or a cited or inserted clause in his current contract specifically referring to winning games against Orlando Pirates, Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns?
Is there any such thing in your contract?
No.
At all?
No, my contract is more related to obviously where we finish in the league. You know, I think that's the most important thing, and factors of the matter is you don't win leagues because you beat Sundowns, Pirates and Chiefs. You win leagues because you beat Magazis and Maruma Gallants, and those are the important games.
So is it a 2-year, 3-month contract?
It's a 3-year contract.
3 full.
He nearly won the CAF Champions League with Orlando Pirates, and then from there he sometimes have a good spell at the club. The next day he's no more with the club. So my question to Eric, what is his take on the current South African players?
For us South African players, it's a lot easier to see Pirates, Sundowns, Chiefs being the pinnacle of their careers, and it's very, very rare that you see players taking the step into Europe from those big clubs in South Africa. The career is short. I had 6 years of my 16-year career in Europe that I made decent money.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
All right, welcome to it. We're going to be from climbing mountains to climbing directly into your radio tonight. Looking forward to a great show. It's a busy one, maybe because it is a pre-long weekend. Also got the latest news, though, about who is the new president of the IOC. Somebody just from around the corner. And I'm talking about Zimbabwe. I'll tell you in a second. Welcome to Marawa Sports Worldwide. Probably brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Let's go! The moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
All right, let me tell you the breaking news, the first and foremost, before I introduce my guest. So it is Zimbabwe's Sports Minister, Kirsty Coventry, who's been elected as the new president of the International Olympic Committee. That just happened a couple of minutes ago. The 41-year-old former swimmer who won 2 Olympic gold medals replaces the German Thomas Bach, who had held the role since 2013 and also becomes the first woman and the first African and the youngest person to hold the role. This, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. An unbelievable story. And congratulations to Kirsty Coventry. I remember covering her as an Olympic swimmer. And there she is now, an IOC president, ladies and gentlemen. Well done.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Coach Eric Tinkler, it's good to see you, sir. Please ask Eric if he thinks that the recycling of coaches is good and benefiting our league. We see a lot of that these days, and I've heard a couple of coaches lamenting to the fact that they get disrespected, that they should also at some point form a union because such cannot continue forever and ever. Well, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely think a union needs to be formed. The fact that there isn't one is quite shocking. We'll have this recycling of coaches, but it happens all over the world. 9 out of 10 times coaches are sacked unfairly. It's easier to sack a coach than 10 players, 12 players, you know. So I think it's unfair to say it's a recycling because it doesn't make the coach a bad coach.
And you can put the blame on me. Said you could put the blame on me.
#MSW. #MSW.
All right, from digesting that good news that's coming through from the International Olympic Committee, let's dive straight into, as I've just been saying, to the bravest human being that I know. I mean, from designing fine jewelry that you and I wear, she's also designing her life, her way. Every cut and every stone. I can tell you that much. And today, we're going to be shining a spotlight, though, on this extraordinary South African diamond or gem that is making waves both up and below the mountain. So Angela Yeung, who's a celebrated jewelry designer and also a very passionate anti-gender-based violence activist, also preparing to engrave her name in history, all for a very great cause. I mean, she's on a mission, guys, to become the second South African woman to conquer Mount Everest from the Tibetan side, which is the most difficult side, the most challenging side, and also following in the footsteps of Cathy O'Dowd. That was 26 years ago, believe it or not. But Angela's climb is about more than just reaching the summit. It's a powerful statement of resilience, hope, solidarity, and also for the survivors of GBV. As you and I know, that's a scourge here in South Africa. I mean, what a powerful story. my absolute pleasure to welcome Angela, who, by the way, has agreed to cut everybody's diamond rings here when they get married in 20 years' time. Angela, welcome to the show, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Robert.
Wow. And I meant what I said. You're probably one of the bravest human beings I know.
Oh.
And brave on many, many fronts. Brave because of what you do outwardly in terms of highlighting gender-based violence. But braver so, though, because of the difficulty of what you're about to do right now. How are you feeling?
Very nervous at the same time. Also very excited. Very mixed feeling.
But this is something you want to do. This is not something that you're doubting yourself about.
Never. You can't. You have to be ready for this big mountain. It's a big calling.
When you visualize it now, because, I mean, it's getting closer and closer to the time of your departure, what are some of the difficulties or potential challenges that you're fighting with, grappling with psychologically and otherwise?
Actually, I was injured 2 years ago when I was climbing Manaslu. It was 8,163 meters. After my summit, the weather changed and the wind was so strong. The snow was actually icy.
Yeah.
And even the rope that I was holding on was very icy. So I fell 10 meters from the rope. So that was the injury that I had during that time. So it's a lot of psychological overcoming from injury, from overcoming the fear and redo it again.
Sure. But you're not just doing it again. I mean, this is the world's largest summit. You know, Mount Everest, like I'm saying, 26 years ago when Kathy did it, it was, everybody was in awe of that. Firstly, are you fully recovered, though, from that injury from the descent?
Yes, it took me almost 6 to 8 months to recover fully. And it's a lot to digest at that time. And I said to myself, I'm not going to Everest straight away. So I took my time to climb Blump last year. It's 6,813 meters. One of the most technical climb in the Himalaya. That's actually give me more confidence of going back to the mountain.
I don't want to sound morbid, but I think it's also part of what you've had to endure and encounter.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, you know, everybody knows. Yeah. You can go on YouTube and anywhere else, and you know that whether you're going to be going up or on your way down, somewhere, somehow, you're going to come across dead bodies.
Exactly.
And you're prepared for that.
Exactly. You have to. I think I'm very spiritual. So to me, I would really a lot of respect for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are the people who are going before us. I so much respect and just chanting for them as well at the same time, you know. But I need to know my why. Knowing my why take me all the way there and keep pushing. Even the time when I was injured, I have to climb another 8 hours to get rescued.
8 hours?
Yeah.
So what is your why, though? I mean, I mentioned gender-based violence. It's one of many, but it's the most prominent. So what would you say to the listeners right now who are probably like shocked and parking their cars and saying, let me hear this.
Yeah.
What is your why?
So going back to 2017, that was the first time I met my biological mother after 30 years of constantly looking for her. So, yeah, and I think you can only give when you have. And also I resonate so much with the child's problem because I went through a lot when I was small. Those difficulties and obstacles has been always something that I would like to even share how did I actually overcome those time in my life. And it happens, Track for Mandela came to my life.
Yes.
And they asked me, Angela, we climb mountains to raise funds for girls that cannot afford sanitary pads.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my, this come at the right time, at the right place. Maybe that's something I could do for the girl child. And so I climbed 2018 and 2019 on Kilimanjaro for raising fund and awareness for caring for girls. That's how I started climbing. And 2020, COVID started, seeing people are suffering. What can I do to help those who are suffering? And I just say to myself, maybe just do a foot drive. So call out on social media, friends, families, everybody. And by word of mouth, I collected 10 tons of food.
Just word of mouth?
Just word of mouth.
So there was trust, there was belief.
Yeah.
People bought into your idea.
Yeah. And they just dropped off that day. We were just having foot drive.
Yeah.
Everybody comes and drop off. And from the generosity of people, that's how. And then I said to myself, who am I to give out this food? No one will you can't, know. So that motivated me to start Impilo Collection Foundation.
And I think everybody on social media, because, time is tight, and I want everybody to be aware of what you're doing on Instagram, and you are live, right? You're live now on your page. You can follow it at Impilo on Instagram. One of the major drives as well, when you're talking about reaching out and GBV, is to collect 8,849 bras.
Yes, exactly.
And that is literally accounting for every meter that you're climbing up. Talk us through that ideal and the thought pattern behind it.
Yes. So going back to the foot drive, we gave out to the GBV shelters, OH home and orphanage. And later, I think because people were seeing what we're doing, and they gave me 1 ton of sanitary pads. Sure. And we gave out to HIV positive home and a special girls house, orphanage. And then one of the girls actually come up to me and say, Auntie Angela, next time when you come, please bring us some bras. And I realized they're not wearing a bras. And the lady in the community actually said to me, that's why perpetrators see that as an invitation of sexual attention, because they're not wearing a bra. And I said to myself, oh, so we did a research and realized there was 2,700 women died from gender-based violence that year.
Sure.
And every year is that we have thousands and thousands of women who die, and those are the figures are only reported. And I said to myself, okay, let's just collect 2,700 bras. Robert, we came back with 6,150 bras.
That is definitely worth And again, when you see your target, which was 2,000, being more than doubled, and it reaches 6. So we get to a stage now where there's a big social media drive.
Yeah.
And we'll be sharing some of that information with our listeners so that people are aware and they can become part and parcel of this. And I mean, one of the things I didn't mention is that you're an ambassador for Brand SA as well. Does that help? Because Brand SA, there's association. You're also going to need big global brands as well to be a part of it. And Cathay Pacific and all of them are part of it. How far is that drive, and what is lacking right now that South Africans who are listening who can say, you know what, Angela, want to back you up, want to be fully behind you. What's the missing link right now?
We actually still busy collecting 8,849 bras. We're only halfway, almost 5,000. This time is very slow. I think during COVID, people were packing. unpacking, there was cleaning up. It was quite easy for us to actually get to the 6,000. And this time we actually really battled, and we really would like to shout out and to ask for help. If people can give us any bras, they can actually drop off of any. We have pointers that you can collect. We're collecting all the pre-loved that run, and also if they can donate 25 rand for one new bra. And the website is www.impilofoundation.org, O-R-G-O, or corporate can sponsor a 1 rand or 10 rand per meter that I climb. And that money will go into, we need to wash the bra, package them, label them, deliver them. And each woman who receive our bra, we measure them as well. So it's a lot of work behind the scene. People didn't realize that.
It makes sense, because you also got to make sure from a hygienic perspective that you bring something to somebody that is clean and sanitized and everything.
With dignity.
Yeah.
You cannot just give out something.
So the drop-off points are where?
It's all on our website.
Okay.
And it's from Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town. There is drop-off point in each city.
All right. So, as I said, the ambassador for Brand SA, philanthropist as well, Angela Yeung, is in studio. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We wrap things up.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
Chomi, just because the year is not so new anymore, it doesn't mean Chomex can't bless you with that new. Watch us for the best of local this March, kicking things off with action that never stops giving on Mbini Season 2. Then there's the drama and the glam on The Real Housewives of Durban Season 5. And if that's not enough, the Mummy Club Season 3 is ready to serve top-tier content. Stream all these shows and more. Sign up at showmax.com.
They say, on the day of his birth, he drove his mother home, and he once escaped a female shark attack using nothing but his charm. And he drives a tank. Discover the GWM Tank 300 now with a 2.4-liter turbo diesel from $8099 per month. Visit gwm.coza for T's and C's and to book a test drive. The new Tank 300 diesel. Go with more. Go with GWM.
From cool beach hangouts to underwater adventures. From indoor tropical rainforests to thrilling theme parks. A Dubai holiday has it all. Fly better to Dubai with Emirates and start your holiday the moment you board with delicious regional meals, complimentary drinks and amazing entertainment. Book now on emirates.com. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Stand a chance to win your contract when you sign up for this fantastic deal from Cell C. Experience power and style with the new Samsung Galaxy A36 on a 36-month Elevate 2 Plus contract for only 349 Rand per month. Sign up or upgrade today. Go in store or call 084 145. Hurry! Offer valid until 31 March. T's and C's apply. Nothing should stop you. Switch to C. Cell C.
Managing your workforce shouldn't be complicated. That's why businesses choose Onacy, a proudly South African cloud-based payroll and HR solution. From payroll and e-recruitment to performance management and self-service tools, we streamline the way businesses handle their people. Scalable, secure, and always online, our system evolves with your needs because your workforce deserves the best. Switch to Onacy and experience payroll and HR done right. Visit onacy.com today.
The runway's all yours, Captain.
This is Lotto Star's Aviator Captain, and we're about to soar to exhilarating heights. Fasten your seatbelts and prepare to cash out before we touch down.
Get ready to fly high and stand to win payouts reaching up to 20 million Rand in seconds. Place your bets now at lottostar.co.za. Your world of live games. Lotto Stars licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Coach Eric Tinkler, it's good to see you, sir. Help me understand one thing which always confuses me with Mush and Integral at the team that you were coaching, and it's something called mutual consent. They parted ways by mutual consent.
There's a word that I'm going to give you. It's a Portuguese word. Chicotada psicológica. It's a saying. They call it a psychological whipping. So in Portugal, whenever a coach gets sacked, they never say he's been sacked or he's been fired. First time I got fired, my kids were at school. It was across all newspapers, billboards. Their friends are asking, Jesus, what did your dad do? Because I got sacked. If I was in John's shoes, I probably would have made the same decision because players weren't responding.
What they do. Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
All right, in about 5 minutes' time, we're going to be delving into another hot potato issue that is around Royal AM. Nqobile is already here. Nqobile Ndlovu, who is a cash and sport research and advisory man. He knows all about what's going on there. Really, people asking me about Gavin Hunt. Has he been fired? Has he not been fired? I reached out to him before going on air. He says he knows nothing about what people are talking about. But yeah, you never know in the beautiful sport of football. But one thing I can tell you is one thing I know is that we are here. Angela Yeung is the ambassador, brand SA, and also philanthropist, as well as somebody doing pretty much the impossible. But there is no impossible with her, aiming to become the first in a very, very long time. But when you look at it historically, becoming the second South African woman to climb Mount Everest, from the Tibetan side, 26 years ago, Kathy O'Dowd did it. The equipment, was you going to carry some form of equipment?
Yeah.
I believe it's like 40 kgs plus at times. Is that true?
Not
that much.
Not when I climb.
Okay.
It is just to travel with to Tibet side. Mm-hmm. That's 40 kilos. So I think the most important thing is that I think when you get to 7,000 meters, you start wearing your oxygen. That's where, that's the essential equipment that you need to survive.
My goodness. So from 7,000.
Yeah.
And you're doing this all by yourself? I mean, there's nobody...
No, I have my Sherpa with me.
Okay.
And he's one of the extraordinary Sherpa. And he help some of the disabled people to climb mountains and even reach to the top of Everest.
But I mean, at the press conference, I know that you presented some, I won't say shocking, but interesting facts in terms of the turnaround of how many people actually get to the summit.
Yes.
And it's nothing above 35% from what I saw.
No.
With the both male and female.
Exactly. Yeah. And especially on the north side, I think that's quite challenging.
But why did you choose to go to the most challenging side?
Yes. So I think that side is much safer because Tibet is very strict. You need to have an 8,000 meters experience to climb their mountain.
Okay.
Yeah. And they also, their own people, the Chinese, were actually climbing first before any other foreigner come in to climb their mountain. So the traffic will be less. That's what I felt is safer. And to me, the safety is most important.
It can reach minus 50 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, when you get to the top.
You more than prepared for that?
Yes. So my summer suit you minimum to be 30 to 40 degrees. And so you need to put in more layers inside.
Oh, and I mean, the one thing, again, I mean, I move from morbid to graphic at times, but well, sometimes people ask, we're all human. There's human waste that you got to dispose of.
Yeah.
So you got to go with what, a little plastic bag?
Yeah, so they distribute blue plastic bag for you. Mm-hmm. So they are very strong. And every time, so we do acclimatizations. So you do rotations. You go up and you come back and sleep down. You go back up again, you come back down. That's how we acclimatize. You can't just go all the way up.
Yeah.
Because your body have to acclimatize. So when you come back down, you have to bring your waist down. And they check you.
They check the actual waist.
They check your
the
actual,
poo. They have a look at it.
So your shepherd will actually say, did you bring the poo down?
Oh, wow. So what are they inspecting it for?
Because for environmental purposes.
Reasons,
Because you can't everybody just go there and like start having their waste all around the mountain.
So it's part of the control measures, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh, I mean, from ballroom dancer to this. That's why I said to you that I just wish everything goes well, Angela. I think the support from the team here, from the station as a whole, we look forward to you coming back. We look forward to having, and I said to you that we will have the entire hour set aside for that, because I just think it'll be the most remarkable thing. So you talked about prayer and getting into the moment. It's the same thing that we're going to do for you as well. So please take those with you from us.
Thank you.
Because this is such a major, major thing that you're doing. And sometimes it goes unnoticed. And that's why I wanted to elevate your role that you're playing, but also try and encourage people as far as handing over the bras is concerned, so that we get the numbers up.
Yeah.
Gender-based violence is a lot of talk. People talk. They go on TV. They talk. There's indabas held, and they talk, but nobody does anything. So you've spoken, but you're going to do.
Exactly. So also one thing I wanted to mention, when I went to climb Amatablam and also Manaslu, I hand up the bras by the base camp, and all the other climbers walk past the bras, and this is, what is this for? It is taboo. And when they saw me, and I explained to them, this is what I'm climbing for, that was gobsmacked.
I mean, I observe, and that's why we engage in a live interview of this nature. The past 50 seconds, I see you getting very emotional. What's going through your mind?
So much that you're climbing for the others. You're getting to know yourself so much. Yeah.
But it strengthens you, though.
Exactly. And I say to myself, if I take 30 years to look for my mother, climbing a mountain wouldn't be too difficult.
Angela, you got the bravery of an individual that I've never met. I'm meeting you today.
Thank you. Thanks, Robert.
I wish you everything of the best. I mean, Godspeed. Those aren't wasted tears right now, right at this moment. They're not wasted. There's been too many wasted moments in terms of addressing the issue of gender-based violence.
Exactly,
so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being you, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, South Africa, wow. Remember the name, Angela Yeung. Please go on the Instagram page at Impilo. It's strong. I can see it. And you're going to do this.
Oh.
You are going to do this, man.
Thank you.
You know, everybody clapping in the control room and everywhere else. They mean that. They mean that. I mean that too.
Thank you.
Godspeed.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Quickly put a call out to the chairman of Richards Bay. Babu Biela, thank you so much for taking our call.
How are you, my friend?
The matter between the club as well as FIFA regarding the registration ban has now been lifted. What's happened here, Babu Biela?
Hey, Robert, you know football sometimes it can cause unnecessary problems. There is a player called Banda. I think you know Banda. He's from Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken. He was once a cheaper. The problem here, Rob, was we did not exercise the option, and we informed him timelessly that you are not going to exercise the option. But he then took us to FIFA, demanding us to reinstate his contract, taking upon himself to exercise the option. So that was the problem. But we knew that once this matter there won't be any case. So we're happy now that it did not even take 4 days for this matter to be resolved.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
All right, if you missed the breaking news early on, as you said, that major shift happening in the IOC. So Thomas Bach, no longer the president, he served his term of office, so he's out. And Zimbabwe Sports Minister Kirsty Coventry has now been elected as the new president of the International Olympic Committee. So a day of really plenty of breaking news, left, right and center. Emotional stakes, as I said, cheers in the studio. And understandably so. We've also got somebody who works more than most. I'm not sure when this gentleman actually gets to sleep because the amount of work he puts in. I guess you and I and everybody else are asking the same question. When is this saga going to end? When will it ever end? I mean, it should certainly rank top of all the misses of the season, I suppose. I mean, so many questions, so little answers, and not much coming through, though, from the people that run football in this country. I mean, I said to someone the other day, imagine if Bournemouth only played 11 games and haven't played any football up until now. I just chose Bournemouth. Can be anyone. But I'm trying to put in your mind's eye what this means. That it can't just be a case of, now, postpone, out of the net bank, postpone. Someone somewhere has got to say something. So the ever-resolute director of Cash and Sport Research and Advisory is here. I think he's got very sharp insights in terms of the sports business world. He's going to try and break down what's going on, the tensions, everything else, because D-Day was Monday. I'm told now D-Day is tomorrow. Tomorrow's a public holiday, and will there still be a D-Day? Director, Cash and Sport Research and Advisory, Nqobile Ndlovu. Good to see you, Baba. Welcome to the show.
Maluput, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm frustrated. How about you?
I'm not, because the devil is in the detail, and I think people need to calm down a little bit. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we'll get into it. But I'm not so
What is
frustrated.
the detail, though?
Yeah.
What is the detail? What is it that we are missing as the layman out there in the streets? What is it that we're missing?
So I think people, because the sale agreement, I'm talking about Royal AM here, the sale agreement wasn't made public, and the terms and conditions of that agreement weren't made public. People only saw the public notice around your bids have to be in by the 14th, and we will choose a bidder by the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people saw. But the sale agreement is much longer. It's much more substantive. And I actually tweeted it out yesterday, a full thread of what exactly was in that agreement, because I think that shed a lot of light in terms of what is actually going on in the process. So if I may,
please do.
The bids were required, and I'll try and take this in a chronological order. The bids were required to be in by the 14th. So you put in your million rand, which is essentially is vulamlomo,
yes,
to say funungena, and then you place your bid on the table to say we want to buy this club. Right. Then it needed to be clear to the buyers what it is that they were buying. So firstly, and I put it in the thread yesterday, you're buying three things. Firstly, you're buying access to the PSL, the status in the PSL, the position in the PSL. You're buying Royal AM. Secondly, what you're buying is all the assets of the club. So the players are the most expensive asset. The trademark of the club, the logo, everything that's attached to the club, the bus, everything that's attached to the club. You're buying that. And then thirdly, you're also buying all the problems, unfortunately.
There's plenty of those, because those are the problems that they landed themselves in.
Yeah. So you're buying the Samir Nurkovic 15 million. You're buying the other few players, and I've spoken to quite a few player representatives. There's a few other players who are still owed salaries and some back pay and so on. You're also buying potentially a disciplinary check from the PSL, because throughout this entire period, there hasn't really been a DC, because, the PSL is between a rock and a hard place. The moment that SARS got involved, and I think people need to also realize The directors of Royal AM were removed as directors on the 26th of July last year from the company.
Resigned or removed?
Resigned, technically, but at that point already SARS had already started the process. We only got to find out about the curatorship in November. That's when it was granted. But according to my understanding, the process had already begun in terms of the preservation and SARS trying to then put measures in place to say, listen, guys, we need to preserve whatever's there because there's a lot of money owed. So that happened already in July last year. And then only in November did the preservation order get granted because, these things take time to go through the courts. The preservation order gets granted and then the curator gets appointed. So we then go to the next stage. So once you've placed your bid, right, then the PSL needs to get involved because the club is being bought, right, for a status within the league. But for you to have a status in the league, it has to be approved by the PSL. So the whoever it is that's buying the club and the auctioneers, essentially now SARS, through an auction company, then sign the agreement to say, cool, we've agreed that your bid is the preferred bid, send it to the PSL. PSL then needs to adjudicate whoever it is, right? Now, if you look at the chronological order, Monday would have been the date that the chosen bidder. Then 3 days after that, between the bidder and whoever's buying the club, they have to then submit that bid to the PSL to say, this is the bidder, this is who they are, etc., etc. The PSL then needs to adjudicate that person. There's no way that the PSL would have been able to adjudicate that person within a day or two. 3 days was yesterday. So the PSL is currently in the process of adjudicating whoever it is that has been chosen. I do not know, and I know you're going to ask me this question. Well,
it's not Mazoman's Kosana, because he says it's no
it's
longer.
It's definitely not him.
Yeah.
It's definitely not him.
All right, I've got to take the break though, but
sure.
Is it somebody that involves Russians?
I've heard about this one.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
How would you like to lighten the load when it comes to getting your freight there conveniently and on time? You can with a tag. No scrambling around for cash or a card. Less time wasted. Choose the convenient way. To drive smart, download the Sanral app to link your cards and manage top-up payments for your convenience. For more info, visit sunral.co.za. Tags are the way to go. Sunral, an agency of the Department of Transport. It's always, hey, choose my kettle. It's this or that, Baba. But why? Why can't I service my car and pay for my wedding service as well? With a Nedbank personal loan, that's a rhetorical question because I can do both with access of up to 400,000 Rand at the best interest rate that is customized for me.
Don't let cash flow hold you back. Apply for your Nedbank personal loan online today. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Finding yourself a little overwhelmed with all the wellness fads? Don't know who to believe? Come get the facts in the place where wellness gets real. At Virgin Active, we're about real guidance and real goals. Score 75% off fees for 2 months. Or unlock the freedom to train at any club with 25% off fees for a full year. Visit our website or call us now on 0860 Get Fit. Virgin Active. No frills, just facts. Offer valid for a limited time only. T's and C's apply.
While we at Deco Furniture love traveling the world. Guten Tag.
Bonjour. Ni hao. Selamat siang.
To find you the best value furniture. There really is no place like home.
How's it? Marlo. Unjani?
To celebrate the best country in the world, Deco Furniture is offering up to 35% off locally made furniture. Plus, price drops on already amazing specials. In-store now or online at decofurnsa.co.za.
The only things that need your attention in March are the amazing red tag deals available now at Leroy Merlin. With massive discounts of up to 50% off our wide range of home improvement and DIY goods, you'll be doing a lot more renovating and decorating at unbeatable value. Get to a Leroy Merlin store or shop all the red tag deals online now. Offers valid from 7 to 30 March. Leroy Merlin. Make your home the best place to live. T's and C's apply.
The new Galaxy A36 5G is here. With the latest AI technology, hum or sing a few lines and boom, the circle to search feature will instantly find the song. Get it now from $349 per month for 36 months on MTN Yellow Plans Core with data to use whenever you want and minutes to call any network. Plus, get an exclusive offer on the Galaxy for 3 or tap A9 Wi-Fi with your purchase. T's and C's apply. Visit an MTN store or mtn.co.za now. Switch to simple. MTN.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Bafana Bafana gearing up for the crucial FIFA World Cup qualifier against Lesotho. That's going to be happening on Friday at the Primedia Stadium in Polokwane. He's here now to share the latest updates from the camp, the preparations, and what the fans can expect from the high-stakes encounter. Nina Ndlovu.
Getting here was the easy part, and then the tougher part is then preparing and ensuring that the plan remains intact. It's well documented that the coach was a little bit frustrated, as you would have wanted to get all of his ducks in a row very early. There were one or two hiccups with players pulling out injured. None of those things should detract from the task at hand. And the task at hand is to get 6 points, firstly from Lesotho on Friday and then from Benin on Tuesday.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Intriguing, interesting, and we're all part of the journey right now. The future of Royal AM. Is there a future? Well, I suppose in terms of what the curators come up with, definitely not. I think that is all done and dusted, and that is why we bring in the sharp brains here of Nqobile and Ndlovu, Director, Cash and Sport Research and Advisory. You can follow him on social media platforms. A very strong and powerful presence there on Twitter or X, and that is where you'll find the thread. Because I think if we go through all the points within the thread, we'll definitely run out of time. But you were saying that other people that have run out of time is the league, because they've got to come out. They've been quietly going about the business. And at some point, Nqobile, you run this multi-billion rand business. Somebody's got to speak. Somebody's got to say, South Africa, this is where we are. This is where we are going. This is what we've decided to do. How soon do you think that's going to happen?
I said at the end of the thread that I think next week is a pivotal time, because if you just look at the number of matches that have been played, Royal AM hasn't played a match since the 29th of November, if I'm not mistaken. We're at a point now where if you were to be able to finish a league season, because you can't finish a league season with one team not having played all of their matches, it's just not possible. It could be possible, given we're just starting a FIFA international break now. It could be possible that they could finish a league season. So my view is that this international break is pivotal. Royal AM has to kick a ball the moment that the international break finishes in order for them to complete the season. If they don't, I think there's a problem, because at that point, as you said, MultiChoice pays the league 630 million rand annually. Betway pays the league for the naming rights of the league. I'd estimate 180 million, between 160 and 180 million rand annually. And then you've got other partners and sponsors and so on. So the league generates roughly 940 million rand annually, right? In that MultiChoice agreement, it says you have 16 teams that have to play a certain number of games. That's your fixture is the PSL is a content business. MultiChoice pays for the content, and the content is 16 games, at least, between the teams. 16 teams playing all of those games, and then the cup competitions on top of that. So that contract is binding. MultiChoice could, if you remember during COVID, they could have clawed that money back, but they didn't. In this instance, they're going through financial troubles. They don't want to be in a situation where they're losing money. Same thing for Betway and the others. So it's vitally important that these games happen. It's
because
not just...
they could face their own legal problems because they're already defaulting on that contract. Like you're saying, it is binding, and so far it's not really binding because it is lacking both from a Nedbank Cup perspective, it's lacking from a league perspective.
Multiple fronts.
Yeah, 100%.
Because remember, the value chain of football is vast. broadcasters, your sponsors, and then you also have your stadiums, which are rented out for games. You have your municipalities who lose visitor revenue, etc., etc., etc. It's an entire economic value chain that gets affected when games don't happen.
And they were just in that whole melee about the Msunduzi municipality and the Harry Gwala Stadium. Correct. And after Maritzburg United departed, then there was the whole takeover of the stadium. And if you go there even right now, it's got Royal AM all over it. So
Correct.
The big question again is what's going to happen. And Maritzburg have said that they're not going to go back because they've been ill-treated, and they formed a home down
My
in Durban.
understanding already with that Msunduzi municipality one is that one's being challenged in court as to whether it was even legal for the sponsorship to be given in the first place, given the fact that Msunduzi municipality was essentially bankrupt. But be that as it may, I mean, the PSL has a very good relationship with MultiChoice, and MultiChoice has got all the incentive to accommodate the PSL as much as possible. It's the most watched sport on MultiChoice's sports channels, beyond the EPL and others. It is a very big product for MultiChoice. So I think they would accommodate them as much as possible, but it's a difficult situation for everyone. It's an untenable situation the longer the games don't happen.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to Nqobile. Nqobile, I just want to find out from you, what is the risk of buying a status like this on a going concern? That also include part of the assets and the players. Does that include the contract of Andile Mpisane? Is it something that you are privy to? Thank you so much for the insights and the available contribution to unpacking this complex matter. Thank you so much, Tebogoye.
Very good question. And I think this is what people don't understand. So what are you buying, right? And I try to spell this out. So firstly, you're buying the name of the club, Royal AM. It has a value. Secondly, you're buying all the contracts of the players, good or bad. So you're also buying the Samir Nurkovic debt, which is 15 million. It started off as 12. You're also buying the outstanding salaries of all of those players. You're buying every single player's contract. You're buying their image rights. You're buying... If there's any dispute with any player, you're buying that. You automatically inherit that.
Footstoots, basically.
It's exactly. Imoto ifile ndoda awazi ukuthi engine yenzani kodwa uyayithenga noma kanjani because ine Benz logo lapha. That's what you're buying. You're buying everything attached to the club. That's what you're buying. So Andile Mpisane he's a registered player. So therefore, he's an asset in the club. If SARS, by the way, were to decide to liquidate, and this is another question, what happens if after the PSL adjudicates, and I assume that they'll adjudicate this partnership by the weekend, if they decide not to accept the proposed bidder, then there's a couple of options, and one of them is liquidation. Liquidation then says, okay, fine, asitholanga umuntu ozoyithenga le club. Now we have to sell everything piece by piece. Then every individual player becomes available for sale, including Andile Mpisane and their contracts, the chairs, even the grass cutting machine. Everything becomes, okay, put everything on auction as a one-by-one product and sell everything. That's the other option.
And thanks again, Tebogo, for the question. Great question, because, like you said, he's registered as a player, but he's still the chairman of the club. So there are many ands. Nobody has spoken about, the vast piece of land that they've got in Pietermaritzburg, which is their home. And everybody who's been there has talked about how world-class a venue it is. And what a world-class training facility it is. I think only Kaizer Chiefs might mirror something close to that, or even better it. Maybe Ikamva for Ajax, or then, which is Cape Town Spurs now, could maybe come close to it. Does that factor in? Like, if they had to try and get some form of money from somewhere, do you think that would be a part of it?
It does factor in.
Yeah.
Everything involved with the club factors in. But let's not forget that this isn't a club-related matter. And this is why your question earlier on around why the PSL hasn't spoken, and I think let me address that one by answering this one. This is a personal tax-related matter. The Mkhize or Mpisane family, or let's say Mkhize, put everything in a family trust, right? Therefore, any asset that was linked to that family trust and any person linked to that family trust was part of the respondents. There were 22 respondents, not just 2. Not just Sean and Andile. There were 22 in total. So all of those people, all of their assets, their homes, their cars, etc., at this moment are frozen. They don't have control of those. If they want to start a car, they have to ask for permission from SARS. It's in the court documents to say any assets can be given back to this person, but that person has to get permission from SARS. They have to report as to what they're going to do with that asset, etc., including the facility. So all of those things are, and the moment it became a SARS matter, the PSL was, Royal AM was a ship adrift at sea, engines are dead, and there's no way to save it. You can't. The PSL couldn't have done anything. So it's a very difficult position for the PSL to be in because you can't comment on a SARS related matter. The issue only got given to them now to say, okay, adjudicate the bid. So they can speak now to say, we have adjudicated the bid, we have accepted the bidder, and Royal AM will be back in, which is why I'm saying the next week or so, is pivotal because there's enough time now. They would have had to adjudicate the bid now. And I would assume that over this past few days and over the weekend, they would do that. And then they would rubber stamp it, and hopefully next week there's an answer.
Nqobile, you talk about 22 persons involved. Who are these people?
Some of it is redacted, unfortunately, so I don't know exactly who the individuals are. I can't, and I think part of the reason why that was done is to protect the other people who are not kind of public facing. So I can't really give you an answer in that respect.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to the MSW shareholders, and special greetings to your guest, to Mr. Ndlovu. I'd just like to ask, Rob, that I'm not sure if it's making sense, but I'm trying to think. So if the sale takes place and then time-wise it's not feasible for the games to be completed in terms of being played, will that subsequently mean that now, in terms of the promotions, it's only one team now that is gonna be dropped, of which potentially there could be 2 because we've got playoffs? Or does that mean that Royal AM will go to the playoffs? Or does that mean that there's only one space that's gonna be vacant for the team coming from the first division? I'm so confused because I'm trying to look at all the dynamics because none of these things are making sense.
Yeah, doesn't make sense. I think we had a quick off-air conversation during the break. Had everything to do with what Sbu's talking about right now. What is it? I mean, does the league expand? Do we get to the magical number 18 teams? Do we relegate? Do we have playoffs? What
Before I came on, you had a chat with Umganwamu Robin Duke Madlala, and he was speaking about force majeure.
Yeah.
He had written in the past week about force majeure. Force majeure is a legal term that speaks to an unprecedented or an unseen event. A club going into curatorship has never happened in the PSL. And what he was suggesting in his article is that the PSL could implement or call on force majeure now and for the 2025-26 season, increase the teams to 18. Why would that happen? Firstly, you would protect whoever's buying the club because the club is at the bottom of the league right now. The likelihood, in all honesty, is that those players haven't played for 2 months. They're not ready to play. The likelihood is that the team will get relegated even if they come back now. But how do you protect someone who's throwing in almost 60 million? And that's my estimate, is that it will cost about 60 million to cover all of the initial costs and everything. How do you protect that person and say, okay, well, you're not just investing this to get relegated and go and earn 500,000 a month in terms of grant money? That's an impossible question. So how do you protect that person? You protect him by saying, okay, we guarantee you that you buy this club. Yes, you play the rest of the matches, but we guarantee you that the team's not going to get relegated. So you have a fighting chance next season to keep the team up and actually rebuild the team over the off season. So you increase the league to 18 teams. No relegation this season. The 2 teams that are in the top 2 spots in the NFD come up, and the 2 teams in the SAB League come up to Motsepe Foundation Championship.
Yeah.
And that way you balance the books in terms of the teams. You also, in that way, protect the sponsors because Betway and all of the other sponsors and MultiChoice who would have lost out on some of the games this season, then get a bigger schedule next season with over 300 and some odd games in the league alone. They get a bigger product to sell next season, etc., and then there's this whole much better story about the biggest league there's ever been. It looks a lot better from a commercial point of view. Plus, it also protects whoever's buying the club. That's my theory around how it could work. But obviously, I mean, we need to get there first and I think I'm very confident that next week we'll start getting answers as to what's happening.
Because I think a lot of people are, when they talk about force majeure, it usually has to do with the unforeseen natural causes. If there is, I don't know, volcano eruption or there's a storm or all these things. But I think it'll be a different one taking a different shape.
Correct. Yeah. Well, there's also force majeure in commercial senses, where things like and I don't know how they would spell it out in terms of a legal framework, but I mean that's what Robin is suggesting, and I don't know what he's heard, but it's an interesting. And I thought about it when I read the article. Actually, this is how this thing could work, but let's see how they spell it out. If they do that actually, because we don't know.
But I think the way you've broken it down now makes sense though, because if people in the league are listening now and they haven't gone that direction, they could be like, oh, let's get our top legal eagles to look at it in terms of that, just to safeguard. I don't know.
Hey, I'm available for work if they need me.
I was going to say, I don't know if you're going to be signing off, sending off a little invoice to them, for the brains trust that you do have. Guys, follow him, Cash and Sport. It's there on Twitter. The most amazing research that this man does. Research and advisory. Nqobile Ndlovu is his name. Thank you so much, Baba. And let's look out then for next week. You're giving us hope.
Thank you, Rob. And I'm sure I'll be back here soon to kind of break down the aftermath.
You know the story. We'll give you some of that Russian stuff. All right, tune in again tomorrow. Marawa Sports Worldwide. We'll skip tomorrow officially, and we'll be back when? On Monday. It's a public holiday, guys. Enjoy it. Have a great long weekend. It is proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
The thrill, the drama, the action. Play the game again. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. #MSW. Live now on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM.